In a world where hypnosis podcasts come and go, one man is here to deliver a knockout, no-holds-barred approach and deliver electrifying interviews with the world's top experts so you can discover the secrets to their success. Introducing the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter and get instant access to 4 free skill-building audios that utilize a revolutionary hypnotic approach to improve your skills from the inside out. It's practically bulletproof. As a member of Hawaii Hypnosis, you'll join the ranks of the movers and shakers in the hypnosis and NLP community and discover how to significantly improve your skills from the inside out.
Aloha, folks. This is Antonio with HawaiiHypnosis.org. Now, today is the first for my podcast. Been trying to do this for a while. I finally have a female hypnotist on the podcast. And just in case Wendy is listening, you should have contacted me sooner. Today, my guest is Jess Marion from Philadelphia. How you doing today?
Great, Antonio. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I was correct. It's Philadelphia, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I've been known to be wrong before, so I just want to make sure. I'm trying to remember your website. I know you have a couple websites. What are some of your websites?
Actually, I have 2 of my own and 1 with my co-trainers. Right now, the website for my private practice in Philadelphia is www.hypnosisphilly.com. Then I am currently training in New York with the International Center for Positive Change and Hypnosis, and that website is www.bestnlpnewyork.com. And I also have available a free rapid induction video training, which is on www.conversationalhypnosisworkshop.com. I think that's all of them.
That should be all of them. Now, can you give my audience a little bit of backstory about yourself?
Certainly. I am a certified hypnotherapist with the International Association of Professional Conversational Hypnotists. I'm also a hypnosis and hypnotherapy trainer with them. I did my trainer's training with Igor Ledachovsky. I'm one of 25 certified to teach his conversational hypnosis professional hypnotherapy certification program, which we do have one coming up soon if anyone's interested. And I'm also an NLP master practitioner.
I like that title, but eventually I'm going to be a NLP master master practitioner. I haven't found anybody that will create that title for me yet, but if they don't, I will create it for myself.
As long as you don't become a meta monster.
Oh God, I know. I'll be a meta monster, and I'll make it a metal model gangbang everywhere I go and just annoy the out of everybody. Now, when is that the upcoming training you guys have?
Our upcoming training is for 6 days, and it's broken up over 2 weekends. It's Friday, February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the following Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, February 8th, 9th, and 10th, and it's in Manhattan.
Are you going to be teaching this with Sean and Sarah Carson?
I'm actually teaching it with Sarah Carson. Sarah and Sean Carson are the founders and directors of the International Center for Positive Change and Hypnosis, and they are incredible trainers. If you have the opportunity to study with them, I cannot recommend them enough. Please sign up. They're transformative, dynamic, incredible trainers, and it's really a treat to be able to be working with such incredible professionals in our field.
They also use some of John Overdorf's protocol, don't they?
Yes, Sean and Sarah are students and trainers for John Overdorf. They offer trainings in NLP, and they offer a dual certification both in NLP and HNLP, which is Humanistic Neurolinguistic Psychology, which has an expanded view of the field of neurolinguistic programming. And if anyone is interested in that, we do have a Philadelphia training coming up in March, which will be taught by Sean Carson and myself, and that will be split up over a series of 6 weekends.
Let's say if somebody wants to learn more about that training, what's the best website for them to contact you guys at?
The best website to contact us at is bestnlpnewyork.com. hypnoticnewyork.com, or they can contact either Sean through his email on that website, or they can contact me through philahypnosis@gmail.com. That's PHILA hypnosis@gmail.com.
Join the ranks of the movers and shakers in the hypnosis and NLP community. Subscribe to the newsletter and discover why this podcast is taking the world by storm.
Now, what I really want to know about is the your upcoming talk at the Hypno Thoughts Live conference. And to give a little bit of backstory for people listening, Hypno Thoughts Live is the first ever live Hypno Thoughts convention. It's going to be, I want to say June 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome convention. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, for everybody that's listening, if you're not aware of it, the Hypno Thoughts Live is the first ever live Hypno Thoughts convention. The website's hypnothoughtslive.com. It's taking place June 14th, 15th, and 16th in Las Vegas. It's going to be a phenomenal event. There's going to be, I believe, 60 one-hour presentations. I could be wrong. There's going to be post-conference talk, pre-conference talks. You're going to have people like Sean Michael Andrews, Jess Marion, Scott Sandlin, Richard Clark, just to name a few. It's going to be an amazing event. What I want to know, Jess, is what are some of the topics you're going to be covering at this event?
This is actually going to be an incredible event, and I'm really looking forward to it. The opportunity to meet so many other hypnotists, and outside of some of the major certifying bodies in the U.S., we don't have really this non-affiliated national convention that's open to anyone and everyone, whether you're a hypnotherapist or a street hypnotist or a stage hypnotist, a student, a professional. This is going to be just an incredible convention, opportunity to network and grow our skills, and I am absolutely thrilled. And a special thanks to Scott for organizing this whole thing. The topics I'm going to be presenting, I'll be having a 4-hour workshop on catalepsy as hypnotic metaphor. This one I'm very excited to teach because I know when I was first starting out as a hypnotist, I had a lot of reservations about utilizing, even eliciting catalepsy. It's kind of one of those phenomena that some hypnotists absolutely love and other hypnotists completely shy away from. And really, it is an incredibly powerful and profound tool for change. The human body is very much so an external extension of the unconscious mind. If you think about it, when you walk, all of the tiny muscles, all of the different nerves required to be activated at the same time to coordinate as well as maintain balance so you can take just a single step. This is not something we can consciously do. It's an unconscious experience. And catalepsy is another one of those. When you have a client in front of you and they're describing whatever issue that they would like to work through, you become highly aware of the different types of body language they're exhibiting. Their posture, their breathing, their pupil dilation, the color of their skin tone, changes in tension. All of these are flashing signs from the unconscious mind saying, pay attention to this. This is important. So when we create catalepsy as a part of the hypnotic process for creating change, we're using that very same vehicle that the unconscious mind is so adept at using. And it really is a wonderful modality because it does a couple of different things. First and foremost, it's an incredible convincer for your client. It's not a common experience to be sitting in a trance with your hand lifting millimeter by millimeter in tiny jerky movements, or resting in midair perfectly still for a long period of time. Now, of course, catalepsy, as we know, is a very normal human experience. This is something that we do, but we don't realize it. If you've ever had the experience of, for example, being out with friends, maybe being at a bar and being engrossed in a very charming conversation, and you're there holding your drink and you haven't moved your arm in 5 minutes. This is a naturally occurring catalepsy. However, to be sitting in the hypnosis room, having some sort of experience going through a process and having an arm exhibit this type of immobility, at least consciously, it's an incredibly powerful experience. And it solidifies for the client whatever processes they're going through at the unconscious level. Now we can take this a step further and we can utilize catalepsy to establish direct unconscious communication. You can do things like setting up ideomotor signals to get yes, no, I don't know responses from the unconscious mind, because sometimes you'll have clients who will consciously give you one response, but unconsciously the response is quite the opposite. You can also utilize catalepsy to elicit resources, to go through the client's memories, their hopes, their dreams, their skill sets, all of their learnings throughout life, and gather resources to create change. Milton Erickson is known for this technique. It's known as the dreaming arm, one of the many key exercises that we'll be learning and exploring during this 4-hour adventure into the unconscious, if you will. Catalepsy also is an important component of several other types of change. For example, for NLP practitioners out there, the visual squash, reintegration. Catalepsy is a key part of that. So as you develop your catalepsy skills, inducing it to use that pattern becomes that much easier. If you're doing a 6-step reframe, which is essentially a giant fractionation anyway, then catalepsy becomes an excellent way to get unbiased or unfiltered unconscious communication. So that's the first workshop, and both of my workshops are experiential. There'll be lots of exercises, some demos, group experiences, because honestly, the way I view learning is it has to be a hands-on thing. My background is in academia, and I've gone to so many academic conferences where people just stand there and read papers. And if you haven't gone to one of these before, it's possibly one of the most mind-numbing, boring experiences of your life. You will enter a boredom trance and then deep sleep very, very quickly.
That does not sound fun, being a boring trance, which I'm glad you're going to make it very experiential.
Yes, the unconscious mind learns far more quickly when it's fully engaged, when it's enjoying. So my goal with both of these seminars, the second one I'll speak about in a moment, is to ingrain in the student the skill set so that when it comes time to use it, not only will they have the confidence, but they'll unconsciously have the instinct for it. It becomes natural, effortless, and fluid.
You know, it's kind of funny. Well, I can definitely hear how your tone is changing. I can almost hear some of your previous trainers, how you're talking, and then I find myself in kind of cataleptic. I'm at the HypnoThoughts Live website. I'm just watching the timer tick down. I'm like, okay, I better kind of snap out of it. So I need to ask a question or respond eventually.
What can I say? It's one of the hazards of really digging deep into this material. And for me, this is my life. I am a trainer. I'm a change worker. From the moment I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep very, very late at night, I'm doing things around this, whether it's working with clients, working on new projects, books, articles, preparing to teach, actually teaching, or, for example, planning the workshops for the HypnoThoughts Live. You can't help but start exhibiting these things unconsciously. It happens, and I'm sure your listeners, those who've been in the field for a long time, much longer than I have, can attest to this. You do, to some level, take on the traits and characteristics, at least within the frame of hypnosis, of your mentors and of your trainers. And for me, I am very happy that I can embody the values and the skill sets that they've passed on to me.
And I'm glad you've had very ethical trainers.
Yes, I've been very fortunate to have highly ethical trainers and mentors over the years. Igor, being my first mentor, always stresses being a force for good in the world. And I really feel that that's something that I try to embody and I try to pass on to my students. And then Sean and Sarah Carson, who, once again, I cannot praise enough, as well as John Overdurf, who's just a lovely person and a phenomenal trainer. In fact, all four are incredible. If your listeners have the opportunity to study with any of them, please do it. Also, this leads me to a very important point about when you're first starting out in the hypnosis world, and even when you've been in it for a while, choosing your mentors and choosing your teachers wisely, because inevitably you will take on some of their traits, some of their attitudes, some of their ideas and opinions, and you really want to be taking on board the things that are going to be most beneficial for you as well as the people that you're working with. Now, I've been absolutely blessed to have Sean Carson as my main mentor, and really he's, for those who aren't familiar with his work, is just absolutely brilliant. He is probably one of the most innovative change workers that I know in the field today, and in terms of ethics and in terms of training, just phenomenal, an absolutely phenomenal person inside and out. And I've been very, very lucky to have met him because then I can take on, or because I have taken on many of the attributes that he has when he's working with clients, when he's training. So really, I cannot stress this enough, to choose your mentors wisely. Make sure that they embody the qualities and the skills that you would like to have.
Oh yeah, those four people that you've listed, excellent trainers, especially from interacting with them in Long Beach at Igor's event. Was it last October? Yeah, last October was 2 Octobers ago was a awesome experience.
Yeah, just truly incredible. The second workshop is a 2-hour class in which we'll be covering perceptual positioning as a way of leveraging change with clients. For those of you with the NLP background, you'll be very familiar with the concept of perceptual positioning. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's the idea of seeing situations, seeing people from different places. So if you consider where you are right now listening to this recording, seeing through your own eyes, hearing through your ears, being in the first person position, then you could imagine what it would be like to be someone else interacting with you. So you can see you there in front of you, noticing your facial expressions, hearing the tone of your voice, seeing what you're wearing. Then you could take your awareness and you can move it even outside of that person, so that you could be a fly on the wall. You can see you there. Maybe if there's someone else in the room, you can see that other person in the room. You can have a sense of the room around you. Now you could even take your awareness and move it further out, so that you could have a sense of that room, wherever you are, the building it's in, whether it's an office or a home or somewhere else, and expand it out even further beyond that to your city, then your state or your province, then even expand it out to the country, the continent, the entire world. Then, of course, you could shrink your perception back down into the here and now, into you. Now, just doing this type of exercise can be somewhat of a trippy experience, but then the question comes, how is this useful? Now, there are NLP patterns built specifically around using perceptual positioning as a way of creating change, as a way of changing relationships with situations or our emotional states around particular issues. And the specific way I use it is as a way of leveraging change when working with clients, moving them from their first position to the second position, seeing the issue through someone else's eyes or the behavior, the state, and expanding out from there. Now, if we take this concept and expand it even further, it isn't only perceptual positioning that we take into account. We tailor that experience based on the particular meta programs that a person is operating on. And then even further layer in issues of logical levels. So how is a person moving through the world? Are they internally or externally framed? Are they motivated by activities, by people, by time? Are they motivated by being drawn toward a goal or moving away from the state or behavior that they don't want anymore? All of these we take into account to craft the perceptual positioning experience. Then we consider the type of change that the client wants. What level is it for them? Is it on the level of behavior? Is it on the level of beliefs and values? Is it something higher? Is it a shift in identity that they're looking for? And as we start to layer in these different facets of who the client is, which once you've sat down with the client, you will have a sense of all these different aspects, you can begin to craft the perceptual experience so that the client has to step outside of their normal box to see their issue in a different light, to experience their issue in a different way. Because problems cannot stay the same. They are not stagnant if there are new pieces of information feeding into them. Any new piece of information, whether that's on the experiential level or even on the conscious logical level, will slightly alter that problem for the client. And that's exactly what we want. We need to begin to shake the foundations of whatever issue it is that they want to work through, because then they can no longer grasp it. They can no longer hold tight to it, and they're propelled forward in making the change that they want. So this workshop is about developing the skills to both craft the perceptual positioning pattern that will be ideal for your client, as well as how to take into account and how to recognize the meta programs that the person is running, as well as where this fits in on their logical levels. Because when you can start categorizing these different elements, change becomes very easy, because the client will unconsciously tell you exactly what you need to do to create the change. Now, of course, the entire change process is not always just within the perceptual positioning pattern that you develop for them, although this is a wonderful, wonderful pre-frame for the change. You can expand out from there. And laying this foundation, what it does is it creates a vast amount of leverage for the change. Oftentimes we have clients who come in and, for example, the ideal smoker comes in. And by ideal, I don't mean the best, I want to stop smoking client you'll get. I mean the typical client who wants to stop smoking. And they come in and yes, they want to stop smoking. However, part of them doesn't. And they say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I really enjoy it. I really want to do it. And when you start asking them about why they want to quit, well, I want to have more money. I want to feel better. I want to smell better. I don't want to get sick. If you continue to question them, they tend not to associate into the really negative impacts of their behavior. So we can use perceptual positioning to move them to associating into that. And when they've associated into that, which for them, oftentimes at first for the smoker is not the most pleasant experience, because it's really the first time that on the unconscious level they've truly considered the possible outcomes of their behavior. When you bring them back to the first position, they take that leverage with them. Now they have a new motivation to create that change, and a very powerful motivation. And depending on the type of meta programs that your client is running, sometimes associating in requires nuances, variations, moving from one position to another position, because sometimes to associate into the problem, the client will not do so in the first position as themselves. So this is what this workshop's all about, developing these skills so that when it comes to any change process, you can quickly and easily pre-frame the entire system of change, the entire coaching system or hypnotic intervention you're going to be using with this client around the leverage that you generate through utilizing perceptual positioning, meta programs, as well as logical levels for that client. So those are my 2 workshops, and I certainly hope people will come and enjoy.
That sounds awesome.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Can I ask you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes by going to hawaiihypnosis.org/iTunes and give us a 5-star rating?
Definitely check out this event. In a moment, I'll list off some of the presenters, some big names in the industry. Go to hypnothoughtslive.com. That's hypnothoughtslive.com. I'm looking at the timer. It's only 183 days away, so it's coming up really soon. It's I believe it's $175. I haven't checked yet. But for 3 days, it's super affordable. So basically with this, you're going to get to know the industry leaders and some of your peers at the banquet, luncheon, and cocktail reception and breakfast, all for free. Some of the people have signed up to be presenters, and keep in mind that they're constantly adding more people. You've got people such as Juan Acosta, Christmas Adams, Mark Andreas, which I believe is Connie Ray and Steve's son, Sean Michael Andrews, Alan Barsky, Nancy Bardwick, Mark Carlin. You've got Kevin Cole, John Cleesaddle, Craig Eubanks, who gets some awesome material on marketing of private practice. You got Mark Cunningham, Wendy Friesen, Jess Marion. I think I know who that is. Oh yeah, that's you, Jess. You got Jess Marion, Roger Moore, Jane Obelzada, Richard Nongard, Richard Rumble, Scott Sandlin, Melissa Tears, Tom Bazzini, Kelly Woods, and many, many more. So this is something you do not want to miss.
For those of you who don't know Melissa Tears, check out her training. She's absolutely an incredible trainer and hypnotist. You will love her course. And also not mentioned on that list is Sarah Carson, who I've been speaking about this evening. Also an absolutely incredible presenter, and she'll be teaching a 2-hour seminar on the meta pattern, which is really the key to all change work. This way of viewing change work will ensure that no matter where you are in the process, you will know exactly what the next step is. And it's incredibly simple. In fact, every single hypnotic intervention that I know of and every NLP pattern for change is based on this principle. This principle overlays the entire thing. It is the foundation of change work. And it comes from John Overdurf's entire body of work in change and coaching, NLP and hypnosis. So check it out. It's a treat. It's lovely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, I so cannot wait to be there, meet everybody, meet you again. And for everybody listening, for all the people that like street hypnosis, I've talked to some of the big names. I've talked to Sean Michael Andrews, Brian David Phillips, etc., about having a massive street hypnosis event, probably on like Fremont Street. We're looking at getting as many hypnotists as we can out there to hit the streets and have a complete blast. I cannot wait for this.
It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
God, I'm looking at this list. There are some awesome people on this list.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. It's just phenomenal that all of these great minds are coming together. And I as a student, I am really looking forward to sitting in on a lot of these different trainings being made available. So if you haven't signed up for the HypnoThoughts Live convention, do it, because it is an opportunity of a lifetime. When else and where else are you going to be able to go to all of these different trainings? Mark Andreas, Mark Cunningham, Jay Noblezada. Is Anthony Jacquin presenting?
I think he might be. Anthony, if you're listening, make sure you get your butt there.
All of these just incredible hypnotists, Sean Michael Andrews, and the list goes on and on. Sign up. It's really just wow.
The entire conference only costs $215. The amount of training you're going to get for that is unbelievable. And I believe you also get you get one free meal. You'd have to check the website. I don't want to misquote and have Scott coming down and be like, hey, fork some money over. You owe money for food. Yeah, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I can't wait. I'm looking at it. Some of the pre-conference training courses that are being offered on June 12th and 13th. Wendy Friesen has an addiction freedom training. Roy Hunter has hypnosis for inner conflict resolution. Don Pellis and Mark Andreas are doing core transformations. Teresa Van Zeller is doing birthing as nature intended. You've got Jonathan Chase doing Dream Pilot Masterclass. Brian David Phillips or creative and improvisational hypnosis, and the list, it goes on and on. So definitely go to hypnothoughtslive.com, sign up. You're going to have a blast. And hey, you'll even get to meet me, see the face behind all these podcasts.
It's going to be incredible, and I really hope that the listeners sign up because I look forward to meeting each and every one of you in Las Vegas in June. And I just want to take a moment to thank you very much, Antonio, for having me on this podcast. This has been really great. Any opportunity I have to talk about hypnosis is one that I will absolutely grab because for me, it's my passion. I absolutely love it. And I certainly hope that the listeners out there become even more enthused about whatever aspect of hypnosis has brought them here today to listen to this podcast.
Definitely. And I think I might have to make an award for you to be being the first ever female that I've interviewed.
Fantastic.
You know what I'll do? I'll actually work. If everybody listening, you'll probably see a little logo somewhere on this podcast where she'll have a little award being the first ever female on the podcast. I don't know how much weight it holds in the industry, but
I'll take it.
It'll be fun. I'll just give it some fancy letters, make it like CHT, and give some fancy letters, make it all sound official.
And just to reiterate, if any of the listeners out there are interested in our Philadelphia NLP course, our New York CHPH course, Conversational Hypnosis, Professional Hypnotherapy, or we're also offering a 2-weekend course in September on deep trance identification, which will be taught by Sean Carson and myself, then be sure to check bestnlpnewyork.com. And actually, the DTI course is nearly sold out. There's only one seat left. So if anyone out there is interested and going to be in the New York area or wants to plan to be in Manhattan during the end of September, which is a beautiful time of the year to come to the city, book now because that seat will not last much longer.
Oh, God, that sounds like... I haven't done much deep trance identification. That sounds like it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a blast. It's modeling at a much deeper level.
Sounds great. And for everybody listening, if you haven't subscribed to the Hawaii Hypnosis newsletter yet, I scroll down below the podcast, you'll see a little opt-in form, or in the upper right-hand corner. And when you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get 4 free hypnosis NLP training audios. You also get a free Advanced Ericksonian Scripts book by Daniel Jones, and you'll get instant access to all the upcoming podcasts that I put way too much work into. But it's fun.
It absolutely is. And thank you again, Antonio. And thank you to everyone out there for sharing this time with me. I'm very honored that I've had the opportunity to speak with you guys. Thank you so much.
Jess, thank you very much, and I will see you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas, Antonio.
Thanks for listening to the Hawaii Hypnosis Podcast. Connect with us at facebook.com/Hawaii Hypnosis, twitter.com/Hawaii Hypnosis, and youtube.com/Hawaii Hypnosis.